I hope I turned the mic on correctly. All right, here we go. Hey, didn't we already have this? What do I got to do with that for? Shh. Ah! Frozen in class. My bad. Good start to the video. Hey, everybody, what do I got to do with that for? What do I got to do with that for? Factor it out. What actually is the phase shift? It's not pi, it's what? Pi over 4. So you're given this in the book, and really what you need to do is write this like this. And I should have hit some more things. Sorry for getting you dizzy as I scan this back here. Boom. You need to take that pi over, that 4 that's in here and factor it out, and then understand how does that affect the pi. By the way, I said good FOILers are good factors. This is what we actually did. We factored. And maybe this is the example we missed. So for 7th hour, if you wanted to open up today's video and skip back to the second to last example, or did we take out a 3? We did take out a 3. So, but anyway, you could look at that. Good FOILers are good factors. I would check and make sure if I distributed this back, 4 times pi over 4 is pi. So I'm good. And I want to distribute it back, but I'm checking, is that the correct factorization of that? Okay, so now looking at that red, we've seen this a million times. This should not be a problem. The phase shift, wrong. The amplitude is 2. 4 is my B value, so that makes the period 2 pi over 4, which equals pi over 2. So 2 pi over 4 equals pi over 2 is where we got that from. The phase shift is in action. We got a pi over 4 left. This is going to be good. If you know anything about fractions, pi over 4 left is half of the period. I mean, look at what's half of pi over 2? Pi over 4. So this is a really good phase shift. All right, and then the vertical shift, that's the point of just putting it all together. For tomorrow, that I'm going to be gone, one short video of putting all these things together, then you should be able to proceed on with success. All right, and then I did this work off to the side. Like I said, don't go right to a graph. First thing is cut your period into 4 equal parts. Half of pi over 2 is pi over 4. Half of pi over 4 is pi over 8. And then everyone play the game. 1 pi over 8. Say it. 2 pi over 8. That's the second one. 3 pi over 8. Discount double check. Is this 4 pi over 8? Yes. So 3 pi over 8 is the 3/4 value. It's really the smartest way to approach breaking up the period into 4 equal parts. Then, what's pi over 4 to the left mean? Subtract or add? Subtract pi over 4 from all of these. And then I did some common denominator work, but it's pretty simple on this one again. 0 minus pi over 4 is negative pi over 4. Pi over 8 minus 2 pi over 8. Do you see that? Minus pi over 4 is 2 pi over 8 is negative pi over 8. Then 0 for the third one. So we have negative pi over 4, negative pi over 8, 0. What do you think the next one's going to be? If you were listening, it'd be pi over 8 and then pi over 4. This is a real nice phase shift compared to the period. This one worked really good, and it really shouldn't be that hard. Okay, now, putting everything together. I'm going to let you kind of think about this as I show the final answer with the graph here. But I'll give you a second I'll pause, give you a second to catch up with your writing so you can really focus on this last part. Darn it. Okay, not recording, sorry. Now I'm recording to show the final answer, what we should have. Here we go. We have an amplitude of 2, but everything gets moved down 1. So 2 gets moved down to 1. I lost my value. I get to write it then for you. And negative 2 moves down to negative 3, and you put, oh no, it's cut off. My bad, dogs. That's negative 2 right there, and it got moved down to negative 3. So now our low point's negative 3, our high point is 1, and our new, where the zeros are located, is at negative 1, and I draw a dotted line there. So I graph negative pi over 8. Actually, what was this? Was this a sine? Okay. And I messed up where my periods were. That's the first period that I have in yellow. Okay. So negative pi over 4 all the way to the far left, comma, negative 1 because of the down 1. It's not a 0 anymore. Negative pi over 8, new high value of 1. 0, comma, back to the new middle point, which is negative 1. Then pi over 8 down to the new low of negative 3. And then pi over 4, comma, back to the new where the zeros would go, which is down 1. And then notice what I did for the following along with this pattern. 1 pi over 8, 2 pi over 8, say it. 3 pi over 8, 4 pi over 8, 5 pi over 8, 6 pi over 8. That's how I get my second cycle. It's pretty simple after you get that done. Get that texting in the back there. All right, yep.